We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. I had spoken to you about certain things that I will speak today, the various sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, various dimensions of sex, and multiple orgasms. You have to understand the nature of the mind first. Mind is a very tricky mechanism. You cannot handle it directly. You have to handle it in very methodological manner so that the mind does not understand that you are trying to subdue it. It is always good to be choiceless, but it cannot be done directly. It is very easy to move from happiness to misery, but from a situation of misery to move to happiness is most difficult. Although choicelessness is the best and the only aspect, you cannot, as I said, it is very easy from the mind to move from happiness to unhappiness, from a positive situation to move to the other situation, but it cannot move Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming. There was a little connection. I did not connect the iPhone, so I'm repeating again. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. Various dimensions of sex and multiple orgasms. Mind is a very tricky mechanism. You cannot handle it directly, and if mind gets a slightest inkling that you are trying to subdue it, it comes with greater strength from the back door. You can move from happiness to misery, but it is impossible from moving from misery to happiness. Mind can always see the negative, the ugly. You can see only death. It can only see the misery. It can only see those things which you are not supposed to see. This is the nature of the mind. I have a calendar long ago hanging on my wall when I was in India. In the calendar, there was two small girls. That picture was there. So one person came in and he was looking at it. So I asked him, "What are you looking so eagerly at this calendar?" There are small girls, 4-5 years of age, looking very beautiful. So what he said, that shows the nature of the mind. He said, "I am seeing the future of these girls." Means when these girls, the girl children, when they grow old, how will they look? This is the nature of the mind. In anything, there is a beauty of the child. The innocence is there, but he is not able to see the innocence of the children Instead, he is seeing how these children will look when they grow up into an adult, a female adult. This is the nature of the mind. It may look strange, but it is very difficult to take a jump from misery. It is easier to take a jump from happiness to misery. This is the nature of the mind. So you have to keep this at the back of the mind, that you cannot handle it in a direct manner. If you want to experience the beauty and other things, you have to I'm not ready to use the word deceptive. You have to be very prudent, very meticulous, how to handle a recalcitrant mind. It is like a child. Child is mischievous, so mischievous that you cannot control him. So can you control him directly? He will come back in something else. You tell him not to do, he will do something else. This is the nature of the mind. So I had told you the various dimensions of sex, and then so in that, mind is an important aspect. Various dimensions of sex. This is a chapter from the book by Nivedita Rimbach, available on Amazon. Life, Love and Light. 3 dimensions of sex. First, this is important to understand. The nature of male-female union, the sex, and out of that, once you understand this, you can have multiple orgasms. Multiple orgasm means it comes like if you have experienced earthquake. Earthquake comes a very strong 6 to 7 or 8 on a Richter scale, and then after that it is followed by a smaller tremors. It continues even after a long time. The major earthquake took place at this time. The recovery work has started, but the tremor continues even after that. So if you have experienced the orgasm in that manner, then it will continue to happen after that as a small tremors of orgasms. Those who have experienced it, they will know it. It is possible, it does happen, it can happen, but you have to understand certain things. Firstly, you have to know sex is not that you came and purchased it somewhere. It is your potentiality. Potentiality does not mean, potentiality means your capability. Seed has a potentiality, but this potentiality has not become the reality. First of all, you have to know that you are potential. Seed is capable of becoming a seedling, a plant, then bring the new leaves, petals, and finally the flower and the fruits. When love expresses through you, where it reflects for the first time when love expresses, this energy expresses through you, it expresses through the body. This potentiality, this sex energy, this existential bioenergy expresses through you for the first time as body. Body comes into existence like the stem comes in. And after that, the other things begin to happen as the process continues. During the moments of puberty, or the sexual maturity at the age, traditionally the age of 9, 10, you start experiencing certain movements within your body. So first, this potentiality or existential bioenergy that we know as sex works through your body. This is the first expression. At the level of the body, it is sex. At the level of the body, it is sex. This potentiality at the physical level is seed, which has everything encompassed in a capsule. If it is allowed to continue to grow, a stem comes in, then by and by a few petals start, a few new leaves starts coming, and then other things starts happening. The tree must grow to a certain level. The stem has to attain to certain maturity. It should be able to sustain itself. Only then the new leaves will start appearing. Leaves do not come first. First stem, the seed bursts open and stem starts coming above the surface level, and then this is, you can say, you have attained the sexual maturity or puberty in case of girls. You start feeling, the male starts feeling movement in their genitals. The first experience comes in that, and along with other physical changes begin to happen. When a certain maturity happens, so just as on the stem of the plant, it starts gaining strength, it can support itself, it becomes stronger than leaves comes in. So at the level of the body, when this energy expresses itself, it becomes sex. If it continues and it expresses itself through the mind, it becomes, which is a slightly higher. Mind is slightly higher than the body. So at that level, it becomes love. If the process continues and it expresses through the spirit, it becomes prayer. So these are the three dimensions of sex. The sex, the bioenergy at the level of the body is sex. At the level of the mind and emotions, it becomes love. And at the level of spirit, beyond the mind, it becomes prayer. These are the three dimensions of this existential bioenergy. You can understand it in another way: life, love, and light. This is the title of Nivedita Rimbat's first work, Life, Love, and Light. This is a chapter from that book on page 27. So, just as when the seed bursts open, the plant comes into life. When this energy expresses itself, it becomes, life comes into existence. You are born. You take a first breath as the body, as you come out of the mother's womb, life comes into. Then as it continues to grow, new petals, new leaves come. As they comes, you reach to the second layer, level of energy, second layer of this expression of this energy. This is love. And through meditation, through understanding, the light, the love becomes the light. So first life comes in, then love comes in, then the process continues. So light is the fruit, and love bridges the two aspects: the physical, that is the life, and the light which is the fruit. If life is the beginning, light is the end, the ultimate journey. So love bridges the two. That's why mind is in between. Below the mind is body, beyond the mind is beyondness. Sex is your life and ego is the mind. You cannot handle ego directly. It is very easy to jump from happiness to sorrow, but not from sorrow to happiness. Mind always looks into the negative, into everything, the ugly. Sex is your life, ego is just your mind, and an aspect of mind that I have mentioned many times. Shankar said, I am neither the mind, nor the memory, nor the ego sense, nor the intellect. I am the ever expanding consciousness which is expressed through the symbol of Shiva. Sex is the only energy that gives you a hint that there is something which you cannot control. It is beyond your control. You can harness it in the right manner. It is like the very wild energy, very strong. You can manipulate it. Money you can control, politics you can control, market you can control, knowledge you can control, science you can control, morality you can control. Somewhere sex brings you in a totally different world. You cannot control it, and the ego is the greatest controller. It is happy if it can control. Mind becomes very happy if it can control, and it does. It becomes unhappy if it cannot control. Thus starts a conflict between ego and sex. Through the two aspects of the mind, the anima animus, or Shiva or Shakti, or male and female, or it comes in the other aspect, which is the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain. The ego cannot win it because ego is just superficial. Sex is very deep rooted and existential bioenergy. It is your life, and ego is just your mind, your head, your conditioning. So the conditioning that is given to you by your education system, by your society, by your priestly community, and everything that controls the wild existential energy that you are. How can there be a balance between the two? Sex has roots all over you. It does not happen only, it is not only concentrated in one particular part of the body. It is like through the channel, it is into your entire body. Ego has roots only in your ideas, that it gives you an identity. Very superficial, just in the head. Sex is your potentiality. When love expresses through you, it first expresses itself as body. At the level of the body, it becomes sex. If it is expressed through the mind, through emotions, through feelings, it becomes higher, deeper, and subtler. Then it is called love, if it is expressed that time. Through the spirit, it becomes prayer. If everything goes well and sex remains natural and flowing, not conditioned by your upbringing, it is beautiful, and a very beautiful experience. It can transcend you beyond the body and mind, give you multiple orgasms during your act of sex, because you can have a glimpse of the second layer through it. And then you can experience the ultimate flowering, the fruit comes in. If sex goes really very deep, you forget yourself completely into it. Ego disappears. You can even get the glimpse of the third layer through it. And if sex becomes a totally orgasmic experience, there comes a rare moment when you can even experience the glimpse of the fourth, the dimensions beyond the known. That is what I call light beyond sex. The three stages, the three books that Nivedita has published so far. First is Life, Love and Light. Second, Light Onto Myself. Third, Life of Bliss Beyond Duality. These are the three stages that happens in the journey of an individual. First is bioenergy expressing at the level of the body, known as sex. Second, this is the first book, Life, Love and Light. At the second, during this, she asks many questions which has been answered, and a script has been put in many beautiful expressions like various aspects of relationship, various aspects of sex and other things. Then at the second level, when it is transcending beyond the body and becoming the mind, then light, you become the light onto yourself. You are a journey on light onto yourself. And then comes in the, when you have become light onto yourself, you are a beacon light, then you can see something beyond, which is life of bliss, beyond conflict. You are beyond conflict, not maybe all the time as an awakened can be, but in certain moments you are beyond conflict. Your journey becomes very easy. You know the passage how to go beyond the conflict, but it may not be possible every time you are going beyond the conflict. But after that comes light beyond sex, or Tao of sex. That is the fourth stage. This is very evident even when you are going into anesthesia is given. So the anesthetist asks you to count. 1, you can do it very clearly. 2, the voice begins to fade. Then 3, after 3, nobody can say 4. So fourth stage is known as Turiya or beyond. But if sex fails, which happens in most of the cases, many types of perversions happen in the mind. These perversions are expressed through hatred. Hatred is nothing else but failure of sex, a failure of love energy, violence, lust for money, the continuous conflicting attitudes of ego, war, politics. These are all perversions of sex if sex fails. If you understand the passage of its movement, it is easy. So these are the three things, because these three books are part of the Tantra series. The first book is an expression of existential bioenergy at the level of the body. The second book, Light Onto Myself, when the dawn is beginning to appear, the light is expressing and manifesting into many other dimensions, it is known as love. Then when you go into the third stage, life of bliss, you start getting the glimpses. The sunlight has started entering you, and then you are beyond conflict at certain moments. The fourth, she still have to finish, but for that she has to do some more preparation, and more work is needed into. But at times, as usual, mind begins to come from the back door. You are trying to control the mischiefs of the recalcitrant child, which is mind. It comes from the back door and says that, clear all this shit from my mind. So these are the three dimensions of sex. Now you are going into a sexual union. You are going into sexual union. It requires two people, a male and male and female energy. But how you enter? You have neither attained the inner harmony, nor your spouse have attained the inner harmony. There are two aspects of your brain and two aspects of the brain of your spouse, a thinking and a feeling. These are the two aspects of your life. Thinking. So even at thinking, you are feeling, at feeling moment, you are thinking. You are thirsty, you want to drink something, but thinking comes in. You are feeling for this thing. You are feeling, very many times we say, I am feeling to drink Coke. But the mind says, mind comes in, thinking comes in. Is Coke good? It is carbonated water. And this and that. So there always remains a conflict between your thinking and feeling mind. So what you are entering into the sexual union with your spouse with a divided mind between thinking and feeling. Your spouse is the same situation, thinking and feeling. You are making love but thinking of something else, or thinking of some other beautiful person that you have seen. As I mentioned to you, this person who was watching a calendar which had the image of two beautiful girls, and he's not seeing the beauty of those girls. Instead, he's seeing the future of these girls when they grow mature, old. How will they look like as an adult? So this is what it is happening. A conflict is going on between your mind, a conflict between feeling and thinking. Go into any of the sex relationship at any point in time when you have entered into sexual union. Did these two, feeling and thinking mind, did not exist, or thinking and feeling being did not exist? And if you are a female, think there. So how many people are involved in the act of sex? Male thinking, male feeling, 2. Female feeling and female thinking, 4 people. So this kind of sexual union is represented by a geometrical figure, rectangle. 4 corners, 4 angles. We use the word angle in geometry and angle also to express our point of view. You say, what is your angle? What angle do you look at the thing? So geometrically, we use the word angle, and in our conversation we use the word angle as well. So a thinking angle, a feeling angle, the male thinking and male feeling, female thinking and female feeling. So four people are involved in it. Four different personalities are involved during the act of sex. How can you experience bliss? How can you experience orgasm? If it happens, it is a biological release. You wanted to sneeze and a sneeze has come in, which is natural. That time there is a male ejaculation, which normally happens, but the female does not get the orgasm. But this is not an orgasmic experience. Orgasm means a particular kind of vibration into your body, into your mind, into your being. The whole body begins to pulsate with a different kind of energy. This is like a tremor. This is like a earthquake at a certain magnitude on the Richter scale. When it happens where you are sitting, everything starts shaking. It is not confined to a particular place. When earthquake happens, does it confine to a particular place? You are sitting in a room, your table shakes, wall shakes, everything shakes. I had the experience of this. Once there was a tremor, it was during the break time. I was sitting in my office facing the door, and on the table, that's where I was having my lunch. Behind me was the wall, and when the tremor came, I heard the scream from the workers from the back on the floor. The wall was shaking, the table was shaking, but I was still. Everyone screamed and came out on the open space, and it is suggested that during this time, conventionally, you do not remain confined in the building, but I remained there because it was different situation for me, different experience. Afterwards, everybody asked me why I didn't come out of the open space. Were you not afraid of that the walls may collapse or anything? So when really the orgasm happens, it happens in that manner. If you have experience in your life, during any of your relations, you will know it. What means an orgasm? It continues even after it happened at that moment. The earthquake happens even for maybe few seconds. I don't think it continues beyond 60 seconds or so. So that's how the orgasm happens, but its effect, the tremors, continues even after a long time. The moment you think of it, the tremor begins to happen in your body. There is a kind of a shivering, a shaking begins to happen within you. So this is the first aspect. Then the second way of union, sexual union, is a triangle. Triangle is another geometrical figure which it can be of three: right angle triangle, isosceles triangle, or the triangle with an obtuse angle, where in right angle triangle there is one triangle of, because in a triangle the three angles totally, their dimension should be 180 degrees. When we say 180 degrees and you use the word Celsius, then it becomes a measure of heat or temperature. When it is 180 degrees, that's it, three triangles. When the three triangles are of equal dimension, 60 degree each, then it is known as isosceles triangles, and all the three sides are of equal length. Then right angle triangle, one angle is 90 degree and the other two angles could be of a different dimensions. When the angle becomes more than 90 degree, it is known as obtuse angle in geometry. So triangle is a geometrical figure, And in that, it happens that there is a base, two angles, and then it goes like a cone, a pyramid. So there is one. So it happens there at certain moments because of the certain movements that is happening between you and your spouse. One comes out of the thinking or feeling. So your spouse is thinking and feeling, remaining in that. You come out of the thinking and you become feeling. This is known as a triangle relationship. It can happen only to one person. Your spouse, male, can come out of the thinking or feeling, and if he comes out of the feeling and becomes thinking, the ego comes onto the surface. How could you be like that? And the man becomes very afraid of the relationship, that how violent, how unmanageable you are sexually. I cannot fulfill you. So his feeling has finished, male, which normally happens in that case. So that becomes the cause of the separation of the two. And if the female goes into thinking, there is a possibility. Male can go into thinking or male can go into feeling, and woman remains both thinking and feeling. Or when man goes into the thinking, then this happens there, this woman is unmanageable. Why she is so hot? How can I fulfill her sexually? And they uses the word, she is a horny character, she is this or that. If woman comes into the feeling or thinking, this man is so egoistic. He can be egoistic in other manners, even in making love he is egoistic. Or if the woman goes into feeling, she will become a little more loving at that time. She wants to experience a little more depth, a little dimension of sex. But if the man remains in thinking, it does not happen. So this is the triangle relationship, when one of the partner moves from thinking to feeling or feeling to thinking. There are effects of it, as I mentioned to you. If the man moves to thinking, he finds the woman is horny, very difficult to please with. If the woman goes into thinking and man remains there, he finds that the man is so aggressive, and he should not be aggressive. Sex is an equal participation between the two partners. The two are at the same level. During the most of the sex act, man remains egoistic and wants to direct everything in sex, does not expect or allow the woman to be the guiding force, to guide how the man should continue in the sex act. It is the man who continues. So we use the missionary posture. Man remains on top, woman remains underneath as a passive character. Very rarely it happens a union where woman becomes an active partner, or both. This is another situation, and that most beautiful situation is when man allows the woman to guide the act completely. And when women remains on top and continues the movement, but male ego does not accept that, and also male biology does not accept that. So in certain moments you get experience of a union, a fraction of a second. This is triangle sexual union. The third is circle. Circle is another geometrical figure, geometrical shape. Circle. It must have two things, circumference and a center. Without a center there is no circle, And center, if it does not have a circumference, it is not center. So the two things remain very important in that matter. I think the on the YouTube the connection has, the battery would have run down, but let me see what it is happening for a few seconds. So in that situation, but the word circle is rarely understood by the human beings. We know the social circle, we know the friend circle, we know the kitty party circle and all these things, but we do not know circle needs a center and a circumference. Without the circumference, the center is not center, it is considered to be a point. It is considered a point, not center. It is in harmony between the two. The center becomes, the point becomes the center. So in that, the energy begins to move. It is like a circuit is completed. Just as the moment you turn the electrical switch on, there is two wires. From one side the positive current is coming, the other side negative current is coming. Between the two there is a filament that gets lit, that gets activated, and the bulb lights, illumination happens. So when the two people are going into the union, the male and female, there is a filament between the two, which is the understanding becomes the filament, and both work together, they neutralize one another. The electrical circuit is completed, illumination happens. It is in that state you will experience orgasm. It is only in the real orgasm will happen when the circuit is completed between the male and female. The male, do you think when the bulb is lit, the energy is moving from the, if you take the magnetic, a bar magnet, the energy is moving from North Pole to South Pole, and an elliptical circle is completed. This is known as circle. Not what you understand by the word, the social circle, the friend circle. This, you are working in an office, so members of that office, they form a group and they call a circle. So all these, but when I use the word in sexual context, it refers to circuit of the energy. The male energy moves towards the female energy moves to the male. It is not escaping anywhere, it is just energizing each other. In that moment the orgasm happens. And if you truly understand this, then you can have multiple orgasms. Multiple orgasm does not mean 1, 2, 3, 4. It can reach to the level of unimaginable numbers. I can point out to you, those who have experienced, they know it can reach to unimaginable level of energy, level of numbers, and the energy becomes so tremendous. Normally after the sex act you feel tired and you fall asleep. After this you are more energetic. Although you have worked hard for 20, 30 orgasms in a sequence, like a tremor, one after the other coming in. One finished, immediately the next one comes in, and you may feel tired, but it does not happen that time. Instead, you feel more energetic, and that is the real purpose of the sexual union. And at that moment you will get the multiple orgasms. you can go up to infinite number of orgasms. For that, I'll continue in tomorrow's session.